Oh, Flying Mima, what are you up to? Hello to all the Meeps and Bubbles and welcome back to another episode of Oxygen Not Included. My name is Luma. We are playing in DLC, but we built setups that work in the original game too, and the last time we started with the atomic research. And now for a quick recap. We crafted some Atmo suits as well as a glass forge, which we used to build a lot of solar panels. We also built the atomic research station and researched the steam turbine. In addition to that, power. We got our scientist a permanent cold, because as you can see, he lives in a fridge. The coal energy got moved out of the way and was replaced with floral sand. In the last episode we built a better kitchen setup. We have an infinite storage in a sterile and super cold atmosphere now, and we placed our cheesy smelting setup in the steam vent room. And the plans for today are how to spend way too much time explaining how to build a steam turbine setup. More Draco ranches, as well as this monstrosity. Also, digging. I took the liberty and 2 cycles to clean out a larger area in the down parts of our base so we can build the Aquatuner-Setup here. Also, not all duplicates had something to do, so I let them deconstruct all of our storage bins and they are putting the stuff in our 1-tile storage up here. Now we jump directly to the Aquatuner-Setup. I'm going to build this in one go and cut it together as one whole project so you can see this without any interruptions, and everything that happened in between I will show in a tiny recap. First, a couple of floors so the duplicates have better access to what we are going to build. After that I measured out the size that we need for our steam turbine. Then I wanted a tiny heat, or in this case cold buffer, which is connected via doors so we can toggle it on and off. And I'm going to do that via metal tiles and some doors. The metal tiles are built out of copper ore, the doors are made out of aluminum. You saw me placing some radiant pipes made out of gold there. We did not have enough material, so I made the duplicates make some gold, copper and some steel. Second, after finishing up the radiant pipes and hooking up the doors to our electrical grid, I'm going to add another layer of insulation here and place the steam turbine on top of it. Third, for the steam room, which has to be a vacuum, I'm going to take the easy route and just tile it in and then remove the tiles later so we have a perfect vacuum. Then we can add more insulation here and there. And in order to get access to our steam room, I'm planning to place some tiles diagonally, deconstructing them later, placing some water on it so we can get some liquid logs in the corner, as well as pre-fill our steam room with a little bit of water. But before the duplicates are doing that, I'm going to place some automation cables so we have access to the doors later, so that the process of exchanging heat can be automated via some thermosensors. A few seconds later and the automation cable is finished. For now I'm going to hook it up to a manual switch so we can open and close the doors manually. After the bottle emptier is built, we need to set it to water and enable the auto bottling feature. The duplicates will come, deliver some water, we can deconstruct the unnecessary tiles diagonally, and as you can see we have access to our steam room and not a single gram of any gas is in there right now. The layout for the electrical grid was flawed, and here you can see me change it up. I could connect the power that the steam turbine produces directly to the Aquatuner, but I'm not doing that. Instead I'm going to hook it up to our main power grid. At the moment you can see me using an unnecessarily expensive power cable because I had another layout in mind. Let's give the duplicates a couple of seconds to finish this off. Next up is the Aquatuner. The Aquatuner needs 1200 watts, therefore we need a large power transformer which is capable of carrying 4000 watts, and we use a conductive wire which is capable of carrying 2000 watts. You can also see me placing the insulation of the down part of our steam room, and in order to not lose our vacuum I placed some normal tiles underneath the insulation tiles before that. Half a cycle later the duplicates finally finished the insulation. Now it's time for the Aquatuner, which is built out of gold amalgam as a placeholder. I'm going to replace that later with one made out of steel. Now it's time for a liquid thermosensor. I used the wrong sensor here, you can see me rip that out later too. The filter gate I placed right now is there so the Aquatuner does not activate and deactivate all the time. Now for the pipe layout. All the pipes that are built within the steam room are made out of insulation. The input pipe will first have to go over the thermosensor. Then it can bridge over to the output of our Aquatuner. So if the water does not need to be cooled, it has a way to go other than inside of the Aquatuner, so the pipes do not break because the water gets too cold. For the steam turbine output, I'm just going to drop the water on top of our Aquatuner. Now we can use the output of the Aquatuner and route it directly to our steam turbine. The steam turbine only works to 95 or 99 degrees, I'm not so sure. After that it will stop working. So we first need to cool down the steam turbine a little bit, but I'm using 3 radiant pipes here, so I can use the mass of the steam turbine as another buffer. Then I'm going to construct the remaining pipes in a way that it creates a loop to our buffer, and I'm placing 2 bridges here, so we have a tiny buffer if we over or underfill our loop. If you build 2 pipes next to each other, you can easily connect them. But remember to then cancel the command, because the newly pipe will overwrite the old pipe and the duplicates will reconstruct this pipe segment. In the back you can see me worrying about my last remaining brain cell, as I've noticed that I built the wrong sensor. Again. Therefore we have to change it out for a liquid pipe thermal sensor. In order to fill the Aquatuner loop, I'm going to use the polluted water from our infinite storage. Therefore I'm going to place a bridge right here. Sometimes it's a good idea to place a temp shift plate behind our Aquatuner. This one is made out of gold amalgam. We can increase the priority to 9 and then set the value for the liquid thermal sensor, which I'm going to set to 0 degrees Celsius. Why 0 degrees? Because the Aquatuner subtracts 14 degrees and the freezing point of polluted water is minus 20 degrees Celsius. After that it is time to fill the Aquatuner loop with our infinite storage. I'm going to activate the switch quickly, wait a little bit, deactivate the switch. Now we got enough water in the pipe and it's going to fill up our loop. The placeholder gold amalgam Aquatuner can now be deconstructed and switched out for a steel Aquatuner. A few seconds later, and after removing all the debris from the rooms, we can close it off with insulation. The duplicates are finishing the walls of our steam room and of our steam geyser room. Now we can clean up the mess that we don't need anymore, as well as all the debris on the floor, and build more metal tiles behind the manually controlled doors. The already cooled buffer can now be insulated, the metal tiles can be finished, and we can hook up the liquid pipe of our buffer to our way too big cooling segment for our electrolyzer setup. The reason why I'm saying it's way too big is because there's so much water in it, it will take a long time, I guess multiple tens of cycles to cool down. The advantage of that is that the stored thermal energy will keep the oxygen from our electrolyzer setup cool for a long time, and the Aquatuner setup gets some phases where it can rest. In case I want to run a gas through our buffer, a radiant gas pipe could be handy. The second loop that connects the buffer to the electrolyzer cooling segment can now be filled with the polluted water from the infinite storage. The last thing I want to do with our Aquatuner setup and our cooling segment, I swear it's the last thing, is I'm going to place a couple of thermosensors in the cooling segment so that the process of dumping cold into it can be automated. Therefore we have to fill it with a little bit of more water. We can close it off after that with another insulation tile and hook it up to our buffer setup in the lower parts of the base. For that to work, some things have to be rearranged. For the temperature of our cooling segment, I'm going to go with 11 degrees Celsius, but we can change that at any time. The manual switch is no longer needed, so we can deconstruct that too. Let's check out what we built here. The buffer is already cool. The water on the left side has 20 degrees and on the right side it is around 2 degrees Celsius. After a couple of seconds the water has reached minus 8 degrees Celsius, which is pretty good, and the left side will take a long time to cool down. Therefore we have to show some patience. And at some time the cooling segment will be at target temperature. So now to all the things that happened in between while we were building the setup. Mushrooms, something to add to our 100,000 calories. Why not? Very fitting to our previous package, we get some fungal spore. The tiny majestic sandstone pyramid. Why not? Hey, free omelette. While building the Aquatuner, a lot of dupes were idle again, so I had to give them more jobs to do. That's why I let him research liquid distribution. All the water in our storage got used up, so we had to connect the geyser water again and wait for it to be delivered to our infinite storage. As you can see, first the electrolyzers get filled up and then it takes the alternative route to our infinite storage. The water in our storage was probably missing for a long time because, as you can see, the oxygen distribution and concentration in our base is horrible. Therefore, for a short time, I will activate all our 3 electrolyzers. We have another problem at the moment because the duplicants are no longer picking up food by themselves because we have no fridge or something like that. So every time a critter dies, I have to do a manual sweeping order and put this conveyor loader to sweep only and allow manual use so that it gets delivered to our infinite food storage, which is super annoying. So if anyone has an idea how to automate that or to fix that, I would be very glad because my brain isn't working at the moment. I think it's about time to expand the base. Therefore, I'm going to suck up all these gases and put it in an infinite gas storage. I'm thinking of storing the different gases in an area like this and expanding the base all the way down to here somewhere. Okay, now for the gas storages, you know the drill. First we need an input pipe. I'm going to build it out of insulation igneous rock. This will be the input pipe. I will lead it down here and there. Placing a gas bridge here. We need to deconstruct this wall so the duplicates can build this. More insulation for the outside of our storages. Also insulation down here. We will need some gas pumps. I'm going to build them out of gold amalgam. They all need power. For now I'm going to use this conductive wire. And after that we will need the gas valves. Oh, I wanted to build them out of gold amalgam. So remove that again. And build them out of gold amalgam. We need to connect the green to the white. And then build some bridges. The gas that will be filtered will come out of the white output. So our filtered gas will come from this and get an outlet down here. In order to be able to use the storage, we need another outlet. Therefore, I'm placing some bridges here. As you remember, all the filters have to be set to a tiny value. Once again, I will be using 0.1 grams a second. We need some water on the bottom. And we should also hook up our input gas pipe to our timer sensor. After that, we can be safe from overflow. The duplicants finally delivered some water. Now we can sweep it up until only 1 kilogram or less than 2 kilograms per 2 tiles is left for each of our infinite gas storages. Most of the time the right amount of liquid is reached when the red symbols disappear. Then, after you build the insulation tiles in between, the water gets compressed to the left and to the right, and if another red symbol appears, you have too much water in that specific pocket. We also want to be able to activate each pump in their respective infinite storage. Therefore we need some automation. We can just place some automation cables next to our gas valves and then we can manually switch it on and off. Also, we will need those to create the vacuum in the storages. The gas valves that you see me build right now in the background are there to create the vacuum for our infinite storages. Also, you can hook that up later to whatever room you want, so you can use the chlorine or use the hydrogen for whatever purpose you intend. Then we can close off our storage rooms and activate the gas pumps one by one to create a vacuum for each of the rooms. 6 storage rooms should be enough for now, but if you get another gas in there, I'm building a general gas vent outlet for that. I made a mistake here. I did not expect there to be carbon dioxide in the chlorine room, so we have to stop this so it doesn't contaminate our filters. Therefore, I'm going to use the timer sensor and set it to all red. No green. We stop the gases right there. Now we can deconstruct the tiles that we don't need. We can rebuild the pipe, and then the chlorine will prime our first filter. For the second filter I want the hydrogen, and for the third filter I'm going to use this oxygen. But first I need to activate the timer sensor again. 102. So the first priming, chlorine. Second one, oxygen. Oxygen. Okay, oxygen was primed already, so no problem there. For the third one, we have hydrogen. Now we can deconstruct the bridge again, here, and I guess it's this one. For the carbon dioxide, I will just use this pocket right here and connect it up somewhere to this other pipe. Now the filter will get primed with carbon dioxide, and the oxygen will just end up in the oxygen storage, wherever that was. Here. Here you can see our storages: chlorine, oxygen, hydrogen, carbon dioxide, and this could be polluted oxygen. It seems that we got some fungal overflow here. For now I'm going to re-add a fridge here so the duplicants can store the materials they need for cooking here. And now I want to dig up the left side of the base. Here I'm going to place an Atmo suit dock, and I want to dig up all the stuff until here. Here you can see the duplicants building our Atmo suit dock as well as a power transformer, so we can have some energy for our Atmo suit docks. Also, I placed an order for 4 Atmo suit docks made out of iron in our forge. Here I want to build a liquid lock by stacking some brine and water. The Atmo suit docks can now be supplied with some suits, power and oxygen. More often than not, the duplicants are dropping their food on the floor, as you can see right here. So I'm going to place 2 more auto sweepers in there so it can pick up the food and deliver it back to our infinite storage. It is not very complicated, we just have to build 2 auto sweepers, a conveyor loader, and rearrange our conveyors a little bit so they deliver our food to the infinite storage. Okay, now it's time to dig up those biomes. I'm going to use igneous rock for the ladders and dig up from the top to the bottom. What you are seeing right now is me saving the plants so we can harvest them later. Our liquid lock broke because I don't have enough experience with them. Let's quickly take a detour to the skills and I'll be back when I fixed this mistake. Stinky is too slow with the Atmo suit, so he gets the Atmo suit training, but I need 2 more skill points for that. As you can see, I fixed the liquid lock and the duplicants are now digging up a lot of materials for us. Hey, look what we got here. We have one of the special dupes that got himself trapped again. Time to rescue Turner. And he's right back to work, so dedicated. I guess we can connect up our gas storage system now. Also, I will have to close this off or the duplicants will come in, or the duplicants in the Atmo suits can go out the way they should not. A tiny amount of aluminum, better than nothing. Too many idle duplicants, so more research. Plastic manufacturing it is. I'm also going to allow the harvesting of the mealwood again. By excavating all this material to the left, we will have enough space to build whatever project will come to our mind. So if you have any ideas or suggestions what we should build in the next episode, just put it down in the comment section. I think I saw neutronium down there, which is an indicator for a vent or a volcano. And even more brine, we could make a pool with that. Our old red bolt generator melted, so we can build a new one and continue our research with the atomic collider. Let's research the gourmet meal preparation. We used up our steam vent water source, so it's time to analyze it and that we know when the next steam will emit and the next water will be stored in our infinite storage. A little bug-eyed raglet, more like a little bug-eyed barbecue. I'm going to build a quick liquid lock here with brine and water. At the moment you can see our coal generators working. That means we are using up way too much power, so our solar power cannot handle it alone. That is probably the fault of our Red Bolt generator, which uses up 480 watts, as well as the 2 gas pumps which we have running constantly and unnecessarily, because you can see there's only a few grams of polluted oxygen and chlorine left. I think I deactivate the pumps now by cutting this cable and then filling the room with oxygen so it is highly pressured, and then suck up the rest of the gas where it accumulated in its respective gas layer. For that I will just use the gas pipe that fills our Atmo suits, and if the Atmo suits are fully filled I have an outlet here, an alternative route, which drops some oxygen in this room. When the duplicants are finished building the pipes, the oxygen will automatically be dispensed and push away the other gases either to the top or to the bottom. More atomic research. I'm going for the catalytics. Skill point allocation time. Turner, exosuit wearing. Travaldo, nothing. Stinky, also exosuit. Mima, same thing. Mary can be a better digger. Joshua, exosuit. Harold, digging. Gosman, suit wearing and exosuit. Bird, nothing. Ape, also nothing. How did that end up here? Also, how did you end up here? Let's store that water down here. Another 8 Paku. I think the game's trying to tell me something. More research, solid management. And we instantly got a message for the missing research station. We should have a rocket with a research station in it, so we can have the space research. I ordered the duplicants to produce more glass so we can build more solar panels, because our power gets used up way too fast at the moment. Also, a couple more batteries could come in handy. Hey, if you're interested in the analysis of our steam geyser, it produces almost 6 kilograms at 110 Celsius and erupts every couple hundreds of seconds. Sometimes there's more to fix than there should be, because we deviated from our first kitchen setup and I rearranged a lot of things in the kitchen. The autosweeper is no longer able to reach the meat that drops from the dead critters. Therefore, my plan to fix that is deconstruct the egg cracker and this incubator and relocate the water tile one to the left. Then this autosweeper won't be able to reach the eggs anymore, so we have to relocate that too for one tile. I jumped ahead to where I deconstructed the incubator and the egg cracker, and now we are going to relocate the water tile. There we go, and I fixed it. I placed the incubator to the left, I relocated the water tile, both of the autosweepers can now reach this tile, and all the meat will automatically get picked up by this autosweeper and placed in our conveyor loader and dropped in our vacuum storage. I also replaced the cycle sensor, which was set to 30 and 10. Look at that, more radioactive shine nymphs. Why not? We have just enough time left to build more of the stables for glossy dragos. So I'm going to build at least one more stable up here. As you can see, I already placed the pipe, which comes from our infinite storage for hydrogen. Why don't I use the hydrogen here? Because it is 76 degrees Celsius and the hydrogen in here is only 41 degrees Celsius. So to begin our glossy draco ranch, we need 2 mealwood plants per glossy draco. So we will need 5 times 2, so 10 plants and 1 extra plant for safety measures. How can I place the farm tile here without the hydrogen escaping? Let's see, maybe like this. Yeah. Not this one first, no. Bad Stinky. Here's some general information for you. If you shear a glossy Draco, you will get 150 kg of plastic, which we could use later for our hyper vacuum tubes, or however they're called. And if you shear a regular Draco, you will get 2 units of reed fiber. If you like those tiny bits of information, go give it a like, and I'm putting those in more of the time lapses in the future. Now for the hydrogen for our Draco range. This is the hydrogen. Ah, shit. Okay. Let's hook that up again and I'll see you later. Here we are back again. Now I can deactivate this valve and I can activate our infinite storage. Okay, we are going to need way more than this. Another critter, another barbecue. Okay, I have to admit, I was pretty optimistic with the 11 kilograms per tile. Now we just have 78 grams left and it's still not enough. So I have to go back to our way too hot hydrogen here and hope that it cools down from our oxygen. Therefore, I'm going to hook it up via a gas bridge to this pipe we built down here. We just have to think about deconstructing this manually shortly after building it. As you can see, I also hooked up this room again because our hydrogen was getting pretty low. I think we can let it at this. Deconstructed, high priority. Okay. Interesting. Hey, also, now that we have more ranches and our Dracos sometimes are overcrowded and I have to kill them manually, we can just set the critter drop-off to auto-wrangle surplus and a maximum critter amount 5 critters. Copy the settings. And now the duplicants should auto-wrangle all the surplus critters. Mima, you're auto-wrangling the wrong critters. What is going on? Why is this room overcrowded? That should not happen. What is going on? Why? This should be enough for 8 critters. What is going on? Is there an egg somewhere? I found the culprit. This little draglet. These ones are still overcrowded. Well, I guess we just have to eat one of them. Hey, at least the auto-wrangling with the glossy Dracos worked. Also, with that amount of ranching, we will need a second rancher, so Mima will get a helping hand. Hey everyone, that's it for today. If you liked what you've seen, consider pressing that like button. Also, there's more content like this on my channel. There are some shorts and long videos on it. Also, if you are one of the few people that stayed all the way to the end, you can show your support by writing down Dracos for the win in the comment section. As always, if you have any suggestions how I can improve my videos, write them down in the comment section and I will read them all.